So do you think he'll be found guilty?
If justice is served, he sure will be for this and all the other crimes that he's accused of.
So do you think we should arrest George Bush next?
Why? What is about this? What's this whataboutism? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, but should we? I mean, if we're going to hold people accountable.
You know better than that?
You don't think we should?
I'm not going to be baited by you. I don't care what you think.
Okay, so you don't think we should arrest George Bush for war crimes?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. What do you think? Do you feel that he should be arrested?
If a grand jury of average New Yorkers indicts him, then he should be arrested.
Exactly.
Well, you know, Michelle Obama called her partner in crime.
Oh, you're going after a black woman now, of course, because you're clearly a white supremacist.
So do you think that's why?
So you have to demonize the black woman, try to get her point of crime.
So if you criticize Candace Owens, you're a white supremacist?
And you're obvious.
What if you criticize Candace Owens?
Is universally respected, whereas Candace Owens is a pathetic character.
Right. What if you This is what happens when you ask these people questions. They cannot answer. Well, this is a public place. I can do whatever I want.
I'm just going to ask you to take a step back.
Well, you have no right to do that.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
You're in my space, and I'm going to ask you.
You're in my space. I'm not in your space.
Get out of our space.
I asked if we should arrest George Bush. They went crazy. I guess they like George Bush. Are you guys Republicans? Are you Republicans? Like, why do you not want to arrest George Bush? You know what? That sounds smarter than you do. So, do you think we should arrest George Bush? No? No answers on that? You don't know if we should arrest George Bush? You're not sure? You know, Michelle Obama called him her partner in crime. I think she was saying, let's arrest him. Are we arresting George Bush next? I hope so. He's guilty of war crimes. Do we care about that? So honest question, should we arrest George Bush?
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. Welcome to RBN Live. That was a glorious video by the fellas at Dissidence, who will be on RBN this Monday. I know you guys have been asking for it. You guys have been demanding it. You guys have been demanding Nick and CJ hook up with Dissidence. So that will be Monday. But today we already got a banger. And I want to get Kid on this because, Kid, I need you right now because I can't. I can't even.
What can we witness?
With these shit lips.
Okay. Well, you know what the thing is? This is something. Oh my goodness, my light is not. Ignore the light in the background. So first of all, outstanding work from Dissidence. They're going to be on Hard Lens Media in the morning with me on Tuesday, April 18th. So back to back, they're going to be on independent media. First of all, notice the behavior of the Vote Blue. That is the behavior of the Vote Blue, no matter who. Yep. Voter. Okay, they have Trump derangement syndrome and can't see past the fact that Trump is a reaction. He is a symptom of what's wrong with the body politics in America. And no, this is not a defense of Trump, but there's a reason why we got Trump in the first place. To quote Jimmy Dore, you think people voted for Trump because their lives are great? No, they did not vote for him because their lives are great. It's because of dynastic politicians in the Republican and Democratic establishment that have successfully brainwashed millions of Americans that think that Team Red or Team Blue care about them. And that's not the truth at all, Nick. We know the real truth. The truth is that neoliberalism is systematically destroying our country, our economy, people's livelihoods. And they think that by beating Trump, all of a sudden democracy is saved. We don't have a democracy. We live in an oligarchy, and people are too blind to it because they're so triggered by the words that Trump has said. But I'll give Trump this. At least he's honest with who he is, with what kind of scumbag he is. At least we know who he is. He doesn't have the mask of neoliberalism on. He doesn't put on this pleasant face that has comforted so many Americans. That's my short rant in seeing that.
You guys, and you was on point there. That video shows the dangers and the toxic harm that Trump derangement syndrome does. It make people ignore war criminals like George W. Bush and rehabilitate him. And this is why we do propaganda report. Do you guys see the age group? You guys see I should go back to the video. You guys see the age group? This is MSNBC. This is MSNBC's audience.
Let's see this. Let's see this. If we got the
video,
video,
put it back up. I'll put it up in the background.
Oh my goodness!
Fact, because there's so much wrong with this video. I could break it down because they get into race baiting. This guy uses whataboutism. He's like, oh my god, how dare you use whataboutism? Look at the age group here. Like, this is the standard Morning Joe audience. You think these people are, let's play this.
Well, but should we? I mean, if we're going to hold people accountable.
You know better than that?
You don't think we should?
I'm not going to be baited by you. I don't care what you think.
Okay, so you don't think
I think that's right after you mentioned whataboutism.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, but should we? I mean, if we're going to hold people
Whataboutism is holding people to their principles and standards. And when this guy's standards was challenged, he folded and said, I don't care about what you think. And that's what happens. And this is how red, blue gang tribalism destroys people's brain. And then this guy, you guys see this black shit lib on the right here. I can say that. I am here to be your guys' anger translator. Because as soon as I saw this video, like, of course,
that's violence. That's rude, sir. That is rude. Be positive. Be kind. Be polite. How dare you?
Don Lemon over here. Citizen Don Lemon over here. This guy is the biggest shit.
Okay, so you don't think we should arrest
him? If
average New Yorkers indicts him, then he should be arrested.
Exactly.
Well, you know, Michelle Obama called her partner in crime.
Oh, you're going after a black woman now, of course.
You're going after a black woman now. You guys see the standard tactic of liberals? And this is why they hate me, kid. Can this guy use that tactic against me? We have young, fire-breathing black people calling out Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Their first tactic is to accuse people of racism. That's all they have. But I know you want to chime in. Go ahead, brother.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I want to add on to what you said. So let's say you were there, Nick, or CJ, or Rome, and you were interviewing all these vote blue, no matter who, shit libs who have Trump derangement syndrome. And as you call out the fact that both parties are corrupt, both parties are systematically destroying our economy, I know exactly what the vote blue no matter who crowd will say. They'll say, oh, you're brainwashed. Or they'll use something very racist, but in their term, polite. They'll call you an Uncle Tom. That's what they'll call you. They'll say, oh, then you're with Trump, or you're a traitor, or you're just because you vote against Democrats, that means you're still voting for Republicans. That's what these vote blue no matter who crowd people do. You see, the thing is, secretly, what we're witnessing here is that they're all racist and bigoted in their own way. They're self-hating in their own way, and they feel that by going against Trump, they're finally putting some meaning in their lives. Yeah. I'm going to say something controversial that I said on the Jimmy Dore Show and on Hard Lens Media, and that is Trump has been the biggest job creator in the social justice warrior industrial complex. He is the biggest job creator in the political commentary complex. He is the biggest job creator in the blue checkmark social media fighter complex. And what I mean by this is that all these activists, all these great people who we saw rise up in 2016 who were part of all these social justice groups that got co-opted by the Democratic Party, they would be irrelevant were it not for Trump. Hell, they need Trump. Just as I said,
CNN ratings since Trump left?
Yeah, they plummeted down. They need him. They want him to win this trial. Secretly, they want him to win this trial so that he's back in the Republican primary and potentially winning the general election. They need him. As Trump is parasitic to the neoliberal system, all these activists and resist and rise up and resist people are parasitic to Trump. They need him more than they realize because it puts meaning in their meaningless lives, because they don't have the heart to really stand up to politicians or corruption. Not unless you are really serious and have it within yourself to actually fight back. Look at what Jose Vega and his colleagues are doing, confronting Democratic politicians. All these people who you see holding up these banners saying resist, these are the same people who say, oh, if I was around during the Civil War era, I would have been one of the good white people to help the black slaves get to the north. Or if they were in Europe, I would have been one of the good people to hide the Jews against the Nazis that were coming after them. These are the people who would say that kind of stuff. But in all reality, I have to look them in the eye and say, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because the person you are is not the person you would be during that time frame. And there's no way in hell you're going to look me in the eye and say, oh, you'd resist the Nazis. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe these people. This is a fantasy for them because they're finally living out their own fake version of being a resistance fighter. And they don't have what it takes.
Reno 911 on the left over here. He don't even realize that he's the person that Malcolm X and MLK was talking about when they talk about the white moderate. And that is the role that the liberals play. Like you have the out in the open enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the out in the open enemy, and then you have the fox, which is the white liberal. Joe Biden has put Donald Trump to shame, the same way that Barack Obama then put George W. Bush to shame in terms of deportations, in terms of people bombed.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Democratic Party is the greatest of all evil, written by the late Glenn Ford. Now watch what this guy does here. And I always share my personal anecdotes many times. I'm surrounded by rednecks, dude. The most racist, condescending people I've been around in my many years of customer service has been the bourgeoisie white liberal.
Yes.
And
yes, absolutely.
That is anecdotal, but you will hear us the same from our brother Rome and a few other people as well. And I'm not putting a hierarchy here. I'm not saying that one is better than another. I am saying that if you guys have the idea that the white liberal is somehow different than these rednecks I see around Missouri, they're not. I promise you they're not. That's why they want to apologize for George Bush and apologize for Joe Biden. They see Haitians getting deported. They see the United States policies towards Cuba and Haiti, and they see the insane xenophobia, anti-China hate, and they're like, we good with it. They always will be good with it. That's why MLK and Malcolm X criticize these people. And I'm gonna get you in here. I'm gonna show you guys this part here because look at what the black guy does. Don Lemon over here. Look at what he does, which is horrible. Like we have the Reno 911 guy, and we got Don Lemon here. So look at what he does, where he justifies the racism that I get from liberals all the time. What do I mean by that, Nick? I let it play and then I explain.
A black woman now, of course, because you're clearly a white supremacist.
So do you think that's why?
So you have to demonize the black woman, try to get a point across.
So if you,
I guess you have a lot
so
of
if you criticize Candace Owens, you're a white supremacist?
in your audience.
What if you criticize Candace Owens?
Is universally respected, whereas Candace Owens is a pathetic victim.
Right. What if,
Okay.
What? So if you're a white man, you can criticize Candace Owens because she's a quote-unquote pathetic grifter. But Michelle Obama, you can't criticize because she universally loved and respected by all. Citation needed.
Or either that, how dare you criticize Cori Bush for writing a book? She's been in office for 2 years. Why is she writing a goddamn book?
What'd she do?
And then there's Ayanna Presley, too. Like, you can't criticize any one of them. What the hell? No, they're politicians, and they deserve to be criticized. Just like how Lightfoot, and we'll talk about Lightfoot later.
Yeah, we don't get to that, trust me.
Yeah. Lightfoot would always hide behind identity politics because let's face it, she was a piss poor mayor. But it's okay to talk down to about Republican women of color. That's right. You want it's okay to do that. The double standard with the liberal hypocrisy is pathetic, which is why, look, at the end of the day, the quote unquote resistance fighters are more than happy to be following orders and live out their virtue LARPing fantasy of being a resistance fighter. Yep. These people who hold these signs and protest against Trump don't have what it takes. They're not very brave. They're not strong. They're not smart. They don't have what it takes because at the end of the day, this is what, as I said, it brings meaning into their meaningless lives. They protest Trump, but they won't protest politicians that are screwing them over. See, Trump, there are politicians worse than Trump. Okay, if people knew just what kind of scumbags
Benjamin Netanyahu is factually worse than Donald Trump or any politician we have in the United States. But there's some liberals that is 100% okay with Netanyahu, like Kamala Harris. But that's to your point. Go ahead, kid.
Yeah, I also want to add, I want to acknowledge us in the live stream chat here too. But somebody wrote here, we need less cowbell. How dare that vote blue no matter who person take advantage of the cowbell. We don't mess with that goddamn cowbell. You're not doing it right.
I want to add this point as well, because you notice how he said that Michelle Obama is universally beloved, worthy of respect. Okay, so even if we dispute that, look at what this says. He puts black people in two categories: the people who are untouchable, the identity politics heroes, versus the unseemly Negroes. There's no doubt in my mind, and they have, because I've shown you guys many evidence of the insane, unhinged racist comments. I think I read one on our last show as well that I used to get from these white liberals because I wouldn't fall in line with Jim Crow Joe. So according to that guy, white people or anyone else cannot question a black person like Michelle Obama, but they can go after Candace Owens and Negroes like me who will not fall in line. What he is doing is actually enabling white supremacy here. You better get these Negroes in line. You better fall in line, or are you one of the bad ones? And that's what he's saying here.
I also want to add this here too, because I think we need to prepare ourselves to get sick to our stomachs, especially when 2024 comes around. And for you guys at RBN, don't you dare freaking stop what you're doing. But I will say this as a heads up. It's not a warning or anything else like that, but heads up for the nasty. You're going to see the most nastiest vitriol. I predict this happening too. The nastiest vitriol from white liberals commenting on your guys' videos. Yeah, I know you're going to get it, but it's going to be multiplied by 100 when let's say Trump's in the Republican primary and people are having Trump derangement syndrome. They're telling you got to vote Democrat. You got to vote Democrat. You are going to and hey, keep all the goddamn receipts on these vote blue, no matter who, white liberal hypocrites.
Trust me, me and CJ, we ready to go.
I know, but I'm saying, like, you know what? I'm just waiting for the day, like, hey, yo, Kit or Jimmy Dore or everyone else, check out these receipts, and we're gonna be like, what the? And these are the same people that probably have signs or pictures in their house, like, there's no hate in this house. There's only love here. Everyone's welcome. Migrants welcome, unless you're in Martha's vineyard. Then you stay there, and then you got to get out.
We are against gun violence, except in Ukraine, except when it comes to filling the black market in Eastern Europe, in Northern Africa, which there's been reports of already from these weapon shipments.
Well, we haven't.
We against gun violence. Jamal Bowman is very passionate about ending gun violence, but he's voting for all the Ukraine packages which lead to increased gun violence. But go ahead, Kay. I know you want to try.
God, that was clownish behavior when he was getting in front of Representative Massey's face. Like, we got to do something here. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're yelling out, and the thing is, like, I commented on that clip, and I played a video from a year ago where the Democrats are saying we're going to do something about gun violence this time around, and Biden was saying, I'm going to take care of it. We're going to do something. They're not going to do anything. Yeah. Representative Bowman, are you really going to do something, or is this all a show just to make people feel better?
You want to see? Here it is again. Oh
God, here we go.
About I don't. And to be honest, guys, let me know. I legitimately don't know if we covered this on our non-nicotine. I forgot. We cover a lot of shit on the channel. Either way, I'm gonna comment on it. This is not too long.
They're all cowards. They won't do anything.
So you're like, oh my God, you guys won't do anything to stop gun violence. Said the guy who's responsible for an extreme amount of gun violence in Ukraine. I'm okay with flooding the black market. And that's what the DHS said, guys.
God in heaven. All right, look. This right here is an example of theatrics. This is a good show that Jamal Bowman is putting up. And the thing is, he knew what he was doing, but he's not going to have follow through. He's not going to have the soul or the passion to really stand up against the Democratic establishment, just like AOC when she wants to try and impeach Justice Clarence Thomas.
Oh yeah, we gotta get to that too. We
got a lot to get to, but this is hypocrisy. Look at this. This is just a show.
And look at this part. You remember this part?
Yes.
And this part is where it get really clownish. Like, this is where it get really ridiculous, because if it wasn't obvious to me, and I tell you guys all this all the time, my brothers are super into pro wrestling. I see it all the time. So I
Me
know
too.
a promo when I see one.
Yes.
I'm around this shit all the time. When I see Jamal Bowman in the first 30 seconds, that's why I kind of let it go while you was talking, because it's like not important what he was saying. I just want to show you guys what he was doing. It's obvious he's cutting a promo. This motherfucker's Dwayne The Rock Johnson right now. And then when this guy challenges him on his position, you would think that rational people, even in their boutique civility politics, that they would sit down, they got cameras here. This is the time to have a debate on gun rights. Nope. Time to ramp up the promo. This is the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Watch this.
In a school that allows teachers to carry.
Carry guns?
Would you
More guns lead to more death.
Would you co-sponsor?
More guns lead to more death.
Would you co-sponsor?
Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the one for the gun lobby.
No.
Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
In every school
States that have open carry laws have more
Like, why are
deaths.
you not letting each other talk, bro? This is so pathetic looking. This is obviously for the cameras.
Okay.
And this applies to both of them. Both of these people are weak, and they can't even address the argument that the other is making. So they just repeating their sound bites over and over again. You want to chime in real quick before I finish the video, Kid? Go ahead.
Yeah. You mentioned you mentioned WWE promo, but honestly, I wish our Senate was a little bit more action packed, like that you see in European parliaments. Because if anything, if I want to see a promo, I want to see an ECW locker room fight, like between Raven and Terry Funk. Only the initiated know what I'm talking about when it comes down to ECW, especially if you know the promo that Terry Funk and Raven did in the locker room fight. That by far is that you want to talk about passion that almost looks real. God damn, ECW always delivered. Are you kidding me? Oh, Gen Z, you missed out. I'm so sorry, Gen Z, you missed out on ECW.
They did. I'm more of a Booker T guy. Kid, we coming for you.
Anyway. Yeah. No. What they said to Hulk Hogan? God.
That's when I became a fan. That's when I became a fan.
And Booker T had to quiet himself down. I was like, oh,
that's the funniest shit ever. Anyway, let's continue the video. I saw that shot like, yeah, that's my favorite wrestler right there. That's my favorite. That's the guy. That's the guy. He called Hulk Hogan an N-word on TV.
And they waved it on. They're like, okay, we're gonna move on. And you know these guys are friends behind the scenes. And Hogan's like, hey, yo, what happened? And Booker's like, I'm sorry, Hogan. I'm so sorry. I said
the funniest part is when he responded afterwards. Like, he's like, fuck, I was about to get fired. All right. Let's get that shit is fucking hilarious. Let's get back into it. I saw that, man. I was like, Booker T, my dude, man. Anyway, let's watch this. Let's fun. This is a I can't even compare him to Booker T. I can't even say that's a bootleg cheap version, because even that's disrespectful. Anyway, let's finish.
You listen to what I'm saying. Calm down, children are dying. 9-year-old children. Because the solution is not arming teachers.
That's worked in every school.
Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? It's a yes or no question. Have you ever worked in the school? You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me. Okay, I'll bring it down tonight.
All right, folks.
Have you ever worked in the school?
I've got a bill to repeal the
That's my favorite part. Because Jamal Bowman realized, like, man, I may look bad here. So, all right, I'm going to bring it down here. Then the other Republican guy, I told you, no one here looks good. He said, no, I don't want to bring it down. Then he looks at the camera like, I'm going to do my own cutaway promo. Fuck this shit. Let's do a cutaway. And that's what he did. He like, fuck it, Jamal Bowman. We not good. We don't have good chemistry here. I'm gonna do my own shit over here. Jamal Bowman like, nah, you're not gonna abandon me, bro. We in this together.
You know how to compare this to? It's like they're realizing they're screwing up their promo. And they got to make a quick apology, just like when Jesus, hell about what one last wrestling analogy. Maybe it's not the best one. When Raven and his crew, his flock, crucified the Sandman. God, that was classic. Oh, by the way, they got a lot of trouble. That's why Kurt Angle never went to ECW.
Yeah, that's
because
before
of
the
that.
PG era kids. You guys don't know, man. They
Oh
did
man, you have
Fiction,
no
and
idea.
they got in big trouble for doing that.
Yeah, the
Anyway.
executive. There was actually producers from Fox at that ECW arena as soon as
It
Sandman
was
was
like, what
crucified.
the fuck are we watching, bro?
Yes, everyone was like, "What?" And see, Sandman loved it, and they wanted Raven to go out there and apologize.
Wasn't it in the middle of the Bible Belt too? I think they did.
I think so. I think
in the
so.
middle of the Bible Belt. Like, what were you guys thinking?
Yeah. Well. See, the thing is, Sandman is the one who designed the cross because he's a carpenter by trade, and he was like, well, "What are they gonna do? Put me on the Star of David and wheel me out? No, you gotta crucify me." And he was pissed because they're gonna try to have what's it? Raven apologize. Like, Raven doesn't apologize. He crucified me. I can't rise from the dead.
I'm sorry, guys, but when we talk about this video, there's nothing else you can do but talk about pro wrestling because that's what this is. What we supposed to do a high level political analysis over this clownery?
It's clown show. Nothing's gonna happen. This is the show that you get from Democratic Republican lawmakers. This is what I tell vote blue no matter who and die hard red. This is just a show. They're not gonna fight for you. So there you go.
Yep, there we go. We only got 30 seconds left, so I'll let it finish. And I want to go to this part because this is the part where this guy got tired of Jamal Bowman's promo cutting ability. So he's like, man, I'm gonna go cut my own. This part funny.
Have you ever worked in the school?
I've got a bill to repeal.
I worked in the school for 20 years.
You're just screaming.
I was a teacher. I was screaming before you came and interrupted me. I worked in the school for 20 years. I worked in the school 20 years.
In every school.
I was a teacher. I was a school counselor. I was a middle school principal. I was in cafeterias protecting kids every day of my career.
There's never been a shooting. Never been a shooting. It's time. Look, we've got guns here to protect us. And he doesn't believe the kids should have somebody to protect them.
At least pro wrestling takes talent.
Yeah.
At least it takes talent. This is garbage, and the only people that think either one of these people look good are people who are 100% mind colonized, destroyed by red blue propaganda. Yeah. How can anyone think that anyone wanted this to change? I tend to go to Jamal Bowman because he's the guy that people tricked. But don't get twisted. This guy was a clown too during this, and that's why. And this is my tweet at the time when I saw this. I said, our country is so damn goofy. Our politics is just like pro wrestling. These are two actors cutting a promo. Mm-hmm. None of these people care. And I'll pass to you, but this is my last point here. Jamal Bowman claims to care about gun violence, but he supports endless military spending to Ukraine, which will create a giant black market of guns for neo-Nazis and other criminals. Dude is a fraud. He hates gun violence unless it's done to kids in other countries. Now, here's the receipts, which I always have for you guys. What happens to the weapons sent to Ukraine? The U.S. don't really know.
No, we don't.
Like,
we don't know. Well, actually, wait. Actually, when the war was started in February of last year, right? When the war was happening, CBS actually did a documentary on the first shipments of the wars, and they had to take that documentary down because you're putting Ukraine into a bad light. We always make sure we know where our weapons are. The weapons are not being tracked.
CBS did accidental journalism. They did journalism on accident for a very rare time, and then they got in trouble for it, and they retracted it.
Yeah,
because they told us how only 25-30% of the weapons are going to the Ukrainian front lines. But go ahead, kid.
Well, it's not only that. It's like, okay, well, where are these weapons going? Who's getting these weapons? Is there any kind of accountability? And the answer is no. So Jamal Bowman doesn't care.
Jamal Bowman don't care.
And if I do have to give one analysis in comparison between seeing these two Jagoff representatives go back and forth with their fake WWE promo, I would say the debut of Shockmaster had more credibility and seriousness behind it than what we're seeing there. And for those of you who don't know who Shockmaster is, look up Shockmaster WWE, and you'll see.
Booker T was there. He was like, I ain't wrestling this motherfucker. Look at this fucking guy.
I am the Shockmaster. See, I know that stuff. Oh, Gen Z, you missed out. God, you missed out, my lovelies.
You guys missed out, man. You guys missed out. You have And that's why I always ask that question to these people. They're not interested in North Stream. We're going to talk about that here very soon. But you have the right wing, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, these people.
Mhm.
They proposed a bill where they said they just want to not even end Ukraine funding, just hold more accountability for the funding. Let's see where the funding is going. Let's have more accountability mechanisms. And then the entire Democratic Party, including the squad, was like, nah, fuck that. We don't need accountability of the military-industrial complex. Jamal Bowman, AOC, and them, it was like the left position is less accountability for the military-industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
These people are clowns. People are clowns. Just like once again, at least Shockmaster was funny. At least that shit was funny. It's just untalented clowns. Like it's Hollywood for ugly people. Pro wrestling for people with no talent. That is what our politics is.
Many of these politicians miss their opportunity to become actors or make it big in Hollywood. So this is where the best play is at, and that is for them being, well, the prostitutes that they are. And no offense to sex workers. I don't mean to compare sex workers to politicians, but I mean, God damn it. These politicians will sell out every inch of their integrity and all of their body to their lobbyist supporters, their corporate donors. And the thing is anyone that says they're progressive and especially running the Democratic Party, they're never, ever going to hold their party accountable because they're waiting in wings until the old guard dies off. AOC will be the next Nancy. I could promise you that.
Now, one thing I'm going to get to, I'm going to ask you about Chicago politics, but since we're talking about Ukraine, I want to bring this up because we did a segment where liberals are melting down because Elon Musk got one thing right finally, where he labeled NPR as state media. So you can chime in on that as well. Because speaking of state media, I did a whole expose where I was like, yeah, this one thing that Elon Musk actually got right. NPR is 100% state media.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of state media, we have the New York Times.
Oh no, New York Times! What did they do? Whatever did they do? Oh no, Nick? Maybe the people need to zoom in and see what exactly is going on here. See what's happening. What is the New York Times saying? By the way, if you're vote blue no matter who and you're hate watching right now, you're gonna get triggered. But breathe, they'll be fine.
We are conspiracy theorists because we dare slander the great name of the official record, the New York Times. How dare you say New York Times is state media, Nick? What do you mean? The entire newspaper is run by spooks. Look at this tweet. And I want you to speak on this. You also can speak on the NPR story if you want. But This is why I say our media is state media. It's public funding I don't really care about. It's like where your conflicts lie. And our media has been infiltrated by the capitalist imperialist class. So there's no greater conflict of interest between media and government relationship than what you see in the United States, as shown by this story.
So the tweet says, and hang on, vote blue no matter who. Intelligence leaks surrounding who blew up most of the Russian-backed Nord Stream pipelines last September have provided more questions than answers. It may be in no one's interest to reveal more. Just follow orders. Go back to work, people. Do not question the state. It's not in your interest to follow or look into. Don't look at anything. It's not in your interest. So in other words, remember all that hype saying it was Russia that did it. Yeah. What? So listen. If there was a Russian military unit or commander that decided to take the initiative to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline and Putin found out, that person, he won't be dead, but no one's going to find them for a long, long time, okay? Yeah. So Putin is making money. Russia's making money off that Nord Stream pipeline. This is a fact. If you get triggered by that vote blue no matter who or SJW activists in the social justice warrior industrial complex, well then too bad. Too bad. Calm down, because the thing is now, it might not have been Russia. So at first there was that reports of, it was a pro-Ukrainian faction that did it. Okay, who gave them the funding, resources, and training to do a deep sea explosive operation? How did they get there? How was this pulled off? In other words, there might be an here, corporate media. It might have been, well, us.
What does that say? Remember when the Nord Stream bombings happened, it was obvious you did it. You guys know that sanction the United States was trending in Germany?
Yep.
MSNBC didn't tell you that.
No.
It was pissed because this is a giant example of not just environmental terrorism, but eco-terrorism. This is going to harm the economies of Europe and Germany, and this was the United States' way to cut off Europe's dependency on Russian gas by force.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very inconvenient narrative from the West. And this is one of the things that everyone else in the world saw, despite the fact that many Americans probably did not. So people in Africa, people in the global South, Lula, I got a story. I may get to it next week where Lula is crafting peace deals with China, meeting with Russia. And the United States is very upset about that because the rest of the world sees what the hell the United States is doing. They see what the Nord Stream pipeline bombings. And people like Rashida Tlaib is asked about it, and she's like, fuck, I ain't answering that shit. Progressive, the entire NATO left, don't talk about Nord Stream. Because if the NATO left acknowledged Nord Stream, their entire argument and their position start to crumble apart. And now that go back to the New York Times and the corporate media, who knows that? Because I don't know if you saw this, but not just the New York Times, just the headline that you just read, where it said, the last part where it said, may be in no one's interest to reveal more. What do you mean?
What do you mean? You're the news. That's your job. You need to tell me. Okay, first of all, there's been so many people yelling at people like you, Nick. There's so many people yelling at you, CJ, Jimmy Dore, Hard Lens Media, everyone, right? They say, "Oh, you're not real journalist," or "Oh, why are you asking all these questions?" What? Yeah. Why is it that we have to do a job that corporate media is supposedly the experts in? They say it's not in your interest to look into further. Why? I think, excuse me, but there's an environmental disaster that's leading up to a conflict. What? Why? Who did this? It's sort of like, oh, someone robbed the bank. But it's not in your interest to find out who the robbers are. We're just going to let it go. And I guarantee you that the bank robbers will never rob a bank again. Get the hell out of here. No, I want to know who these bank robbers are. Who's this? Who are these murderers on the street? Who's the great big bad guy? I mean, seriously, you're telling me an authoritative, hey, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, there's an authoritative source saying it's not in our interest. No wonder people don't trust corporate media anymore, the two-party system. When you tell me it's not in my interest, I realize that you can't do your job, and not to mention everyone there working at the New York Times, all these articles that we see, they only write these articles to pay the rent. Because let's face it, living in New York is expensive. So there you go.
How is it not state TV? And how do they accomplish this? We did a propaganda report earlier this week where everyone was saying that, Finland joining NATO is a blow to Putin. MSNBC, blow to Putin. Fox News, blow to Putin. CNN, blow to Putin. How do these quote unquote independent private enterprises keep coming up with the same headlines?
I got the answer. I got the answer for you.
I'm gonna share this here. Look, I'm gonna give you an example, and then you can explain, kid. Look at this here. The Washington Post on the Nord Stream attack. Leaders see little benefit from digging too deeply and finding an uncomfortable answer. And they talk about how people don't talk about Nord Stream. So you get the New York Times, who floats the idea of, hey, guys, can we not talk about this? Then Washington Post talk about how there's a new strategy out. We just don't talk about Nord Stream. You guys see this coordinated strategy, but Kate, go ahead and enlighten us about how our media works.
So first of all, number one, remember when obviously the Colonial Pipeline's still leaking, by the way, folks, but remember when that thing was supposedly shut down, everyone's saying it's Russia that shut down the Colonial Pipeline, a Colonial Pipeline that goes all across the East Coast. It's still leaking over there in North Carolina, by the way, folks. Look into that. It's very true. But one other thing here, too. The reason why, Nick, to answer your question about why the titles look the same, is everyone go back in time to 2016 when Jimmy Dore was with TYT, and they were covering a Bernie Sanders rally, and Jimmy was, being Jimmy, in the field reporting, was making a joke about the reporters in the reporter pit area. I obviously, Nick, you've seen it when you if you ever covered a live event. We here at Heartland's Media have been there too in the reporter pit area. And this was after Bernie Sanders was speaking, and he was noticing all the reporters there together writing and copying each other's notes. It's click, copy, paste. They're copying each other's work. It's sort of like the kids in school when they're cheating on the same test, or they're getting something from Wikipedia. That's how they operate, because their journalist department is not getting enough resources. 2, they need to get the stuff out there quick, so they get a title and they copy it and say, "Oh, I made this." They might make some changes or switch the paragraphs around or have in different words, but it's a clone. Click, copy, paste articles. That's what you.
And I read enough articles to say what you're saying is 100% the fact. Because I'll read these stories and that's why I tell you guys that our media is just like state media, and they get the same talking points, the same sources from intelligence agencies. Because I'll read an article from 2 different sources from people who apparently from 2 different sides of the political spectrum. They're like, red media. Oh my God, this is the media that's extremely conservative with a right-wing slant. Then I read MSNBC take on China, right-wing take on China, same fucking thing. They will use the same language. And I'm like, dude, this shit not good.
Same thing with and I look. I really am interested to see how he's going to run his campaign. But when RFK Jr. announced that he's going to be running in the Democratic primary, first, RFK, if you're not going to call out the election fraud or anything like that, then whatever. But notice all the articles.
No, I don't know that much about. I know he's been calling out the COVID.
All the articles that have come out about him announcing, they're all the same title. Anti-vaxxer RFK Jr. running in Democratic primary. All of them are the same. They're all the same. All of them are the same. I'm like, Jesus Christ, is anyone really doing their job anymore?
They're just one more tone away from saying this piece of shit RFK Jr. Don't vote for this scumbag. He run for president, by the way. Fuck him. They like one tone away from that. Cause that's all I see. Cause I obviously I heard of him, but I'm not like too well read on him. Like, I saw someone say like he's like a standard like social democrat, but people on the left hate him because he calls out the COVID narrative. Is that true?
He was on Jimmy Dore's show, and he was really questioning the vaccine and the dangers that it poses. And mind you, again,
that's the only way I know him.
Yeah. So he was on the Jimmy Dore show, and the thing is, like, looking at the vaccine now and the problems that it has, and look, we're still dealing with COVID. I mean, is RFK Jr. wrong, folks? And the answer is no, he's not. But all the media is smearing him as anti-vaxxer. And then, of course, you have the orb queen herself, Marianne Williamson, who, mind you, I actually interviewed the gentleman, Greg Marcel Dixon. He was there at her event, and we want to talk about he
got called mansplainer.
Yeah, the bourgeoisie left, or the vote blue no matter who. Like, Marianne Williamson was snapping and yelling at him for calling out like reparations, and then she was like, "No, you don't! How dare you!" and speaking down to him. I mean, again, these politicians and the vote blue no matter who crowd and corporate media, what they do is systematically try and control their narrative, but their narrative is falling apart because look how sloppy they are. Their titles are weak. Their articles are the same. Everything is the same. There's no creativity. There's no integrity. And when they write articles saying it's best not to look into this story anymore, it's sort of like, okay, well, gee, I could see this article being written in Nazi Germany. Yeah, there's a camp in Auschwitz, but don't look into it. That smell, that's oregano we're burning. Don't look into the smell. Don't look into the noises. I mean, come on. Is this where we're at as a country and as a people? Because if the American people believe you live in a free democracy with a free press, we've really been suckered. Don't look into it now. Obey the system. You will own nothing and be happy. Now go back to eating bugs, peasants. That's what they want you to do.
Well said. So for the sake of time, we got 2 more segments. I'll give you out.
No, we're almost out of here.
No, 2 more segments.
Two more. I was about to say.
So since I have to cover the Ukraine thing, I'm gonna ask you about the Chicago mayor elect Brandon. Actually, I'm gonna ask you about it now, and I'll get to the longer story later because I remember I saw a few things where he was running against this tough on crime psychopath for the most part. And he had like all these police officers in Chicago that said they would quit and resign. And by the way, still waiting. I'm waiting for you guys to honor your promise. Because they were freaking out over his quote unquote progressive campaign promises and where he stand on criminal justice. And I try not to be too negative, but I can't help it because I've seen this pattern over and over again with Black progressive mayor who then take over, like Quentin Lucas in Kansas City, and then they sell out real quick. So I'm asking you, you're a Chicago native. I'm not gonna also dole the mood on Lori Lightfoot losing because that's obviously
I'm so happy she's gone. I'm so happy. I'm so happy she's gone. God, what a clown. Not only was she just a terrible mayor, but she was a clown. Simple clown, very weak, had an absolute liar and hypocrite. But let's talk about the political situation here. So first,
and let me say this, even if I don't have a lot of faith in Brandon Johnson or whatever, I can still take satisfaction in Lori Lightfoot losing. I feel that's still like, yeah, thank God she lost. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, kid.
Well, I want Brandon Johnson to succeed. I want to see this really happen. I want to see him actually usher in a new Chicago, a better Chicago. Maybe we'll finally have a mayor that will do something. But look, real quick again, so you're viewing on it, see this, so hopefully it doesn't get to. It's called Chicago's Not Broke. Please read this book so you understand. Chicago's Not Broke, all right? So written by Tom Trasher, talks about the TIF fund. So let me explain the political environment here in Chicago. Let's rewind back the clocks to 2019. Lightfoot is about to be inaugurated in. The political landscape was simple. Rahm Emanuel was the most hated mayor, politician in Chicago's history. And plus, Lightfoot was going up against Tony Prettwinkle, who had a regressive soda tax policy. At the end of the day, on the final day of election, Lightfoot ran in with 73% of the vote. Prettwinkle got about 19% of the vote. So Lightfoot flew in with so much love and support. Then came her absolute downfall of when it was revealed what kind of person she is and the fact that she was still carrying on Rahm Emanuel's policies. Schools were being shut down. Mental health facilities were not being reopened. There was lead still in our drinking water, still is, by the way. Real estate developers moving in and gentrifying Black and Latino neighborhoods on the South and West Side neighborhoods. Communities not being snowplowed. In fact, the last snowstorm we had, Lightfoot decided to be petty and say, oh, certain snowplows shouldn't go in certain neighborhoods because these neighborhoods were critical of her administration. So Lightfoot obviously hated, and when the runoff was happening, she only got 17% of the vote. Now let's talk about this race between Brandon Johnson and Paul Vallis. So it was 50-50 nail biter. You had Brandon Johnson getting 51% of the vote, Paul Vallis getting 49% of the vote. So
what can you tell us more about his opponent as well? Because I heard vague stuff about him. Like I'm not into Chicago politics like that, to be clear. I got the vague story. He's a tough on crime right winger versus the progressive Black up and coming
quote unquote progressive. So here's the thing about Paul Vallis, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed because last election cycle in the last primary runoff, he was near dead last in 2019. This primary runoff, he was the front runner. So obviously he was doing his homework and building alliances with people who were critical of Lightfoot's administration. He has a track record of privatizing schools. He has a track record of being very close to Republican establishment folks, including being a supporter of Trump and getting some support from DeSantis. And yes, very tough on crime. So as you noticed, the numbers that I gave to you in regards to how the runoff or how the election turned out on April 4th, Brandon Johnson getting 51%, Paul Vallis getting 49%. There isn't a whole lot of love for either of the two candidates because people in this city is severely divided. And it has to deal with the aftermath of Lightfoot and how she ran this city to the ground. I mean, she gave a lot of federal funding and resources to the Chicago Police Department, used federal resources to pay off some of Chicago's city debt. And the thing is, with Brandon Johnson getting into office and so many of these Chicago police officers threatening to resign, he has been quoted and changing his policy in regards to how he was for defund the police to redefine the police. And then, of course, even being questioned about the police budget, he said, I'll make sure the police department gets not one penny less, that they'll still get their budget.
See, of course.
So the thing is, and the reason why he's saying that too is, again, our job is to observe and give commentary on the political landscapes of our communities and our nation, okay? And in Chicago, before the final election happened, Paul Vallas had the support of 23 Chicago City Council members. Brandon Johnson only had 13. So already going into office, he's going to have to deal with the city council, many of whom probably had deals waiting in wings for Paul Vallas to get in. He also has to contend with other people in higher echelons of power to contend with too. Senator Dick Durbin, United States Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois, endorsed and supported Paul Vallas. Arnie Duncan, who was with the Obama administration, endorsed Paul Vallas. There were a lot of high-profile people who supported Paul Vallas, including big business. So Brandon Johnson has to contend with that in order for his mayorship, his administration, to continue to function. And what concerns me is that he's not going to follow through with his promises and try to do everything he can to appease the coalition that Vallas built. Because again, Vallas got 49% of the city vote. 49%. That's a big number. And again, the turnout was a little bit higher compared to 2019. But I fear that Brandon Johnson, with his political landscape and what Lightfoot has done in regards to not changing anything, he might be toothless. And supposedly he does have support of CTU, but if he, again, has to contend with CTU or the CPD, I believe that the CPD will overcome CTU. CTU being Chicago Teachers Union and CPD being the Chicago Police Department.
Yeah, so I don't like this guy already. Look at this headline. I saw on a private call, Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson pitches Biden 2024 Chicago convention.
Yeah, hey, by the way, so when the Democratic convention comes here to Chicago, we might see history repeat itself. Hey, that'll be fun.
Hey, I'm gonna come up there and we're gonna do a protest up there or some shit.
Hell yeah, we'll cover it, man. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome.
That shit's gonna be fire. If you still owe me a tour and show me around Chicago pizza anyway.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll go up there and call these motherfuckers out.
Absolutely.
While we do it.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna call up Fiorella and be like, Fee, guess what? I convinced RBN that we got the best pizza. So there you go.
I remember that argument that you guys have. You guys gotta prove it. You got New York and Chicago. You guys gotta prove it to me, okay? Like, I'm from Kansas City. Pizza here is not shit. We do barbecue, okay?
All right. Well, look, Fiorella. In the off chance you see this video, and I'm not being violent here, we have the best pizza. And look, Sabby did a poll in regards to what's better, Chicago style or New York, and we won. And look, hey, we're gracious in our victory, okay? We are the first among equals. Everyone's equal. That's the policy we have. We're just the first among equals. We are the august. We are the princeps. So everyone else is equal, but we're just the first among equals. So there you go. So come to Chicago, Democratic establishment. It'll be fun.
Dude, obviously, I told you guys in Kansas City, there's not much shit going on here except like right-wing protests. And then there'd be like Black Congressional Caucus, Democrat rallies. Like Casey Tenants is like the only people doing shit worth the damn. But I'm gonna get this a super chat. We had just a few super chats, and then we get to our last story of the day. Thank you for the $10.
Thank
Sean
you,
Brock. The progressive Bernie movement was a cultural movement in response to Occupy Wall Street. It redefined socialism. Key part. It redefined socialism because the establishment saw what was coming. It was started by Union Buster Jank.
Oh, Fat Tony.
That's how you know. And those are the warning signs I should have picked up on when you have leaders of the movement who are pro-war, like and Union Busters. That should have been a red flag there. But thank you for $2. Another one for Sean Brock. Socialism has been reduced to a hashtag club for PMCs. They talk about tax the rich instead of seize the means of production. A lot of people don't realize that Bernie, he did good things on like Medicare for all some stuff, but he did not shift his country to socialism. The only thing he really did, he took a lot of boutique liberals a lot of straight up liberals for the most part, Democrat loyalists, and he convinced them that they were socialists, but they're really not. That's all he really did. He shifted what it means to be a socialist to the right. Thank you for $5, Chris Kruger. Importantly, RFK 2 is anti-war and anti-imperialist. Read his announcement. He wants Ukraine over, solidarity to RBN. That's good because one of my criticism of Marianne, well, I'm like, what's the point of you even challenging Biden if you're not questioning his COVID narrative? You're not questioning his position on war. And I'm talking, these are things that the president controls. The president control the funding of DHS. They are the commander in chief, but you're running as president. You got only legislative criticisms. You could run for Congress with the same exact campaign with Marianne Williamson. And I tell you guys, I'm not interested in supplying and wasting any resources on Democratic Party runs. But if you're going to go for that route, you better at least challenge the Democratic Party on their stances on the executive power, how you use executive power, what's the power of the president. That is what makes Democrats so scary, and that is the criticism you don't hear from Marianne Williamson, Bernie Sanders, AOC. That's not their interest at all.
So I got to acknowledge a chat here. It's from Chris Kruger. Says Brandon Johnson is trying to raise taxes on the wealthy. Kit, please confirm. Let me explain something here about Illinois taxes. First of all, I would be surprised if Brandon Johnson can pull that off. So let me explain the nightmare situation in Illinois. So I was on Larry Sharp's show, and he was shocked by this. Illinois has a flat tax, and it's in our Constitution. Now, we tried. There was an attempt for a progressive income tax, but in order to do that, you have to get not only a ballot initiative, but you also have to get support of the entire Illinois State House and Senate to do anything to revise. You got to get a supermajority to revise our Constitution. Now, when it comes down to city taxes, the way it's designed here in this city is pretty pathetic. The downtown affluent areas have it in a way set up to where they're not paying taxes, and all the burdens put on the people, which is also insidious because then our taxes and everything else additionally is raised up from getting paper bags or plastic bags, like regressive taxes. And it causes people to eventually become financially hit hard to where we all get displaced. It's not a fun situation if you are a Chicagoan or anyone living in the state of Illinois, which is why there's a mass exodus. I mean, it's pretty rough here. So Brandon Johnson raising taxes on the rich. Okay, I want to see it done. I would like to see it done. But there's a bigger overall problem with the fact that we have a flat tax here in the state of Illinois that's extremely regressive and hurtful to working class citizens. So again, I interviewed the author of this book. Goddamn, it's not showing up. It's called Chicago's Not Broke, written by Tom Treasure. He's also writing a new book on how, thankfully, we stopped the 2016 Olympics coming here to Chicago. Jesus Christ, did we dodge a bullet with that one? So Tom Treasure, check it out. This talks about the TIF funds. We are not, God damn it, work. It's called Chicago's Not Broke. We're not broke. And I don't see Brandon Johnson doing anything about the TIF funds or using it to help fund our schools or rebuild our infrastructure. For example, if you have outdated pipes or lead pipes or anything like that, the city doesn't fix it. You have to pay out of your own pocket to update your own pipes. Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What an amazing central planning model.
I know. It's like, Fox News says, oh, Chicago's a communist utopia. I'm like, yeah, you guys are right. It is a communist utopia for corporations and the rich. Fox, God, it's like sometimes I look at Fox News and be like, sometimes you guys are there, but man, are you way off? You're like
I said before, they help Democrats. Like no one helps Joe Biden more than Lauren Ingram. Like, no one helps Joe Biden more than Sean Hannity. Like when Sean Hannity be like, Joe Biden is a puppet of Bernie Sanders. He is implementing socialism. And I'm not even saying he's helping them because he's convincing people of that. He's helping them because he's muddying the waters of real criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, the Democrats do the same to Trump.
Yep.
It literally go both ways. Like Democrats, they focus on porn star payments instead of his war crimes.
Wait, can I get this out here? I don't care if Trump boned Stormy Daniels, okay? I don't care. He did that before he was president. I know of a president that was in the White House that was having an affair with one of his workers, one of his interns. No one talks about that. Yeah, it's way worse. Bill Clinton's got a way worse record. And the thing is, what I find funny about all this is that Stormy Daniels now has to pay Trump, I think, $120,000 of the $300,000 that they. So in other words, this is the second time she gets boned by Trump. And the thing is, no one talks about why she was trying. Why were they meeting up with Trump in the first place? I mean, everyone's saying to Stormy, like, "Oh, don't you know he was a married man?" And she's like, "Well, he had the choice not to do it." Well, first of all, Stormy, you had a lot of choices not to do this, but she was trying to get onto Celebrity Apprentice. She was thirsty to get on Celebrity Apprentice. And who was hosting at the time? Donald Trump. Cry me a river. He gave you hush money. I mean, like, there you go. $130,000. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it's money. So just be quiet. Here's $130K. Whatever. And then the thing is, there's a recent title that came out. We're saying, I felt a little sad for Trump being in court. That was worse with Stormy Daniels. Like, lady, this is what you wanted. Enjoy your slice of pizza and shut up.
Kid from Harlan's Media, ladies and gentlemen. If you are offended by that, because I'm deeply offended by what Kid is saying. If you're offended by those kind of rants, make sure you avoid Harlan's Media. Trust me, if you don't want to hear those kind of analysis, avoid Harlan's Media at all costs. If you don't want base political analysis, if you don't want analysis that completely independent like that, avoid them, man, because I'm in shambles.
By the way, we are live at a new time. We are live in the morning, 9 a.m. Central on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, and Twitch. We say start your morning right and righteously angry with Hard Lens Media. Put whiskey in your coffee, grab a mimosa, smoke a bowl, and listen to us on your way to work. And if your boss gives you crap, tell them to shut the hell up.
Once again, man, if you're someone like me, you think Michelle Obama is a hero that's above criticism, do not tune into Harlan's Media. Once again, I repeat. If you think Marianne Williamson is going to be the next Bernie Sanders, do not tune into Harlan's Media. Anyway, let's do our last story. It's always fun. Nick doing Nick and Kid on Saturdays. Once again, appreciate everyone for the super chat. Like and share. We're about an hour in, and this is a fun conversation. Algorithm been kicking our ass, so make sure you guys help us out by sharing the video. Now, this story I'm gonna get to. I had to cover this today. May not be a long story, but I want to cover the leaked Pentagon files on Ukraine. So here's the CNN report. Let me pull this up, and this is giant because this is more examples how they've been lying to you. And this is another story that the NATO left is not going to cover. So you have Pentagon war plan documents from Ukraine that was leaked, and it seemed like a flex from the Russian intelligence agencies because they kind of like, see, we still got it. But hey, no one really knows. That what the West is blaming. But there was this leak. Most interestingly enough, you have the casualty numbers on the Russian side because of these leaked documents that people analyze that are significantly lower than what the official United States narrative has been. Surprise!
What?
And then you have the Ukrainian casualty number that is much higher than the official United States and Ukraine model. That's why this document is legitimate. It's very important because the document that was leaked, that even as you guys see here, that CNN acknowledged, that the Pentagon acknowledged that it's real, show that the United States and the Ukraine narrative has been a complete lie because these documents acknowledge it. Look at CNN. The Pentagon is investigating what appears to be screenshots of classified U.S. and NATO military information about Ukraine circulating on social media, a Pentagon official says. Here's another receipt. The leak of classified war plans on social media represents a major breach of American intelligence in the effort to aid Ukraine campaign against Russia. Now, the reason why this story is such, because now there's been a lot of tension that you will see acknowledged in Morning Joe every once in a while, not often, but every once in a while, they'll talk about how the Ukraine government and the United States government, they kind of worry about sharing intel with each other and intelligence with each other. There was a story months and months ago how the Biden administration said they were kind of worried about Zelensky corruption. So they was kind of holding back intel from them. And then you had the Ukrainian government that didn't trust the Biden administration. So now this happens. The Ukrainians, they claim the United States, we can't share everything with them because how do you know everything's secure? This happens. Now massive intelligence leak. Now Ukraine, it's gonna be mind games. It's all this back in their head now. What do we share with the United States? What do we share with these people? Because it may get hacked. Ukraine and Zelensky, they are already blaming Russia, which is possible. That's 100% possible that Russia did this. So they're blaming Russia for this. So now they may be less likely to share details with the United States because of stuff like this can happen. That's just one element of this. But Kid, I know you want to chime in.
So look,
go ahead.
So the military-industrial complex, and there's been a lot of politicians, both Democrat and Republican, that had financial interests in Ukraine since before the war started. So when we look at the coup that took place in 2014, you'll notice that there's a lot of lawmakers that have been involved in this decision. But however, again, we have corporate media, thankfully, as a reference, but because before the war happened, there were a crap ton of articles talking about how there's so much corruption in Ukraine and how there's a lack of accountability. And oh my goodness, are there goose-stepping Nazis in the Ukrainian army? Is there a special battalion there that's only filled with white supremacists and Nazi supporters? I mean, the thing is, corporate media covered it. Now everyone's shush about it because now the cat's kind of out of the bag here. We're giving billions upon billions of dollars here. There isn't the great victory that's being promised, except this quasi war. It's this horrific war that's going on. And the thing is, look, Russia's not going to go anywhere. And at this point, there's only one way this thing's going to end, and that is if there's a victor. And it's quite clear. And the reason why I say there's going to be a victor is because both parties, again, what we see was NATO and the European Union and the United States, and with Zelensky there as well, they're making it very clear we're not going to do dialogue. And so what's Russia's response? Well, okay, if you're not going to do dialogue, then we're not going to do it. Now, Xi Jinping, the leader of China, is actually going to Russia and a few other places trying to get diplomacy and peace talks happening, which is a major surprise. But one side is made it absolutely clear there will be no peace talks, period. Now, Putin's got his own problems, but the fact that the quote-unquote democratic nations and the organizations are against any kind of diplomatic peace talks should concern all of us. And again, as this conflict continues on, we should all be worried about it getting hotter and hotter until one day someone sees a shiny red button and says, gee, what does this do? And they push it, and then it's mushroom clouds in the sky for us all.
Look at this, because as I said, the Ukrainian government is obviously blaming Russia. That's what they're trying to spin. They spin everything as that. This is the other theory. Someone at the Pentagon is leaking damaging intelligence, revealing just how bad Biden's proxy war in Ukraine is going. Once again, that's possible as well. Someone in the Pentagon and the military, like, man, you guys are leading us off a cliff. We about to start leaking.
You know what else is interesting too is I wonder what's going to happen to these whistleblowers, because again, under Obama's administration, whistleblowers were being punished. So these whistleblowers, please keep your heads on the swivel. But also, number two, another thing that kind of bothers me about this conflict is, oh God, hold on, because I'm going to vomit in my mouth. When you got people like Sean Penn fly their happy asses to Ukraine and say, here's my Academy Award, Zelensky, you can keep. I'm like, God damn it. Because what I fear happening, not fear, what I dread is that there's some Hollywood producer is going to make a movie that's going to star Sean Penn as this ex-secret super agent military guy who's drawn out of retirement to help out somebody in Ukraine. He falls in love with some girl that's way his minor. Right. And he's like this guy who's fighting off Russians. And then at the end, he's like, we got to do something to help out Ukraine. I see that happening. But then when you also, sorry, Sabby, I got to break your heart. Also, Orlando Bloom, Legolas, what are you doing hanging out with Sauron? You got all these actors and front card people.
Desperation.
Going.
It's not that they're desperate, kid. Especially they bring in these celebrities out there because you had support for the Ukraine war drop by a third compared to the first year in the United States. You have Vladimir Putin in a poll that I posted today on Twitter that is more historically popular in the United States Just because people are tired of this, that they are losing control of the narrative. So they're like, bring on Sean Penn.
You know what else? You know what else they're going to probably do? Watch to revitalize her career. Oh, and I hope this happens before the war ends, right?
Yeah.
But Ellen DeGeneres is going to go to Ukraine and do like a little dance like she did with Bush, with Zelensky.
Jon Stewart is going to give another medal to a Nazi. That's what they're going to have to do that.
Boy. You know what? Oh, I could see Jon Stewart going to Ukraine. I could see that. Hey, audience. Okay, there's no such thing as a wrong answer. So I'm calling out all 300 lovelies of you. And if you haven't hit that like button, do that right now. What's wrong with all of you? Hit that like button. Get 300 likes here, folks. Come on, folks. You guys are awesome. But okay, folks, no wrong answer. What's the next major celebrity to visit Zelensky in Ukraine? Go ahead. Have at it, folks. No such thing as a wrong answer.
I said my guess would Jon Stewart. They might go with Will Ferrell or something. He sounds like someone who would do it. I don't know.
Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna choose an actor and an actress, right? So I'm gonna go with maybe
Kanye West. He does like Nazis though. Vladimir Putin never care about black people, man.
Okay. I'm gonna go with an actress being Angelina Jolie. I see her doing that, right? I could see her going there. And then I would pick maybe Tom Hanks, because I mean I could see him doing it. I could see him following orders. Yeah.
I see Gal Gadot. Isn't she a Zionist? She's like a
Gal Gadot. Oh man, I used to have a little bit of a crush on her, just a little.
Wasn't she literally like a Zionist soldier or something like that?
I don't know. I don't know
about that about it.
I don't know
because of that. But I'm gonna share this other part here. I think we almost done with this story here.
Will Smith. Somebody said Will Smith. Russia, keep Ukraine out of your mouth.
That boy needs the positive liberal PR after Chris Rock.
Yeah. After that,
shreds. That man.
Jesus.
I don't know what he expects. I don't know what he expected.
No,
Chris Rock wrote. Will Smith was like, he was trying to call him up, and he was trying to like, let's apologize. Let's put this past us. And Chris Rock was like,
okay,
he could please, bro. I'm gonna make millions off of this story, son.
Dude. After that, I was after watching that special. Was Chris Rock? I wasn't like, oh, stop it. He's already like more of like, God damn, you fucked him up. Like you're looking at someone get beat on the ground, and after it's all done, you're not like, oh wow, you should have said, like, you're looking like, damn, this is an art piece here. Like, you're all sprawled out, the red's over there, the teeth are over there, his legs all twisted up. Jesus, Chris, you fucked up Willie, big Willie.
Boy, buried him, son. He buried him. The last thing we'll share on this Ukraine story is this from Minpress News. A friend of the show, Lee Camp, who recently had JB on as well. So you guys gotta check it. That was a great conversation.
Shout out to Lee Camp. He's been very good to Hard Lens Media too. I gotta get him back on the show.
Yeah, Lee Camp, a real one. I think we had him on a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago. Classified Pentagon documents revealing sensitive information about U.S. NATO plans for the proxy war in Ukraine as leaked. Check this out. The documents show there are allegedly 50 British and 14 soldiers in Ukraine. Now, there was also the report of how you have British intelligence officers literally on the ground. So you have the entire NATO army backing up Ukraine. You have intelligence officers on the ground. You have these soldiers that are being exposed. As Putin has said, which MSNBC and CNN has said is Russian talking points, this is not Russia versus Ukraine. Russia defeated Ukraine a long time ago. This is Russia versus the entire NATO apparatus. They got few soldiers on the ground. Now, imagine how things going to be when things get more desperate, kid. They're going to start increasing that number. And as I showed you guys before this last you see of the story, you had the Pentagon in Ukraine that's in shambles over this. So look at this. Pentagon is trying to get Twitter to remove posts that contain classified documents about the war in Ukraine.
But the Twitter files aren't real. Don't
Well,
you get it, Nick? Stop it. The Twitter files aren't real. Yet Mehdi Hassan.
Mehdi Hassan is not real, though.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, my God.
AOC
Jesus.
doesn't think it's real, though.
It's not
Here
real,
it is.
folks.
Here it is.
God.
So you know this is damaging for the Pentagon, the United States and the Ukraine narrative, because it exposes their narrative that Ukraine's winning as a sham. Their narrative that Russian soldiers are being slaughtered compared to Ukrainian soldiers that is literally showered with glory and victory in battle. That is not what's happening. Ukrainians are being slaughtered in massive amounts. They're literally forcing people, constrict and punishing people who refuse. The Zelensky Kiev regime is so desperate. So any last thoughts you guys have on this, kid?
What we're witnessing here is the absolute I wouldn't call, hold on, let me find a better word for this. What we're seeing is the people who have been part of the neoliberal establishment spazzing out because things are not going their way, and we're seeing their lies fall apart. And let me inform your audience on what a lie is. A lie is a fake building. It might look like it's put together well, but its foundation is weak. It is based on a lie. It's not properly built right. Now, depending on the structure and how maybe well it is put together, a lie can stand for quite some time, but as soon as there are cracks and support beams are falling apart, all lies break. And you could tell a well-coordinated lie. It matters how long it lasts, but they all fall apart. And what the liberals, the vote blue no matter who crowd, the fake progressives, the neoliberal establishment, what they're all doing right now is spazzing out because, again, they're all hyped up about Mehdi Hassan going after Matt Taibbi. They're all upset that this war in Ukraine is still going on, but there's no final victory. They're all upset for the fact that, again, they're losing power and influence, and that the Biden-Harris administration is polling at an all-time low. So as a final note for all of this is that this is what happens when you start putting your politicians and their lies on a pedestal. And the thing is, a lot of people, going back to the first video that you played, a lot of people are not going to come to terms with this very easily because think about it. If you vote Democrat and Republican, and that's what you're trained to do, and you listen to corporate media, when the wall of reality finally hits a lot of these people, they're going to be in a huge state of denial because they're stuck in an abusive relationship. So if you're a diehard Republican red voter or diehard vote blue no matter who, take off your sunglasses and show me that shiner. Get out of this abusive relationship. Be brave. And this is what I have to tell all of you watching this show as well. You have the arduous task of helping to deprogram your friends, your coworkers, your neighbors, your family members into waking up that they are part of a two-party system that's screwing them over. Because when this all falls apart, and it will, so many people are not going to know what to do because our institutions have purposely failed us. And it's up to us now to build something better, a real democracy, a real republic that represents the people.
So I lied. I have one more thing I want to ask you about.
Oh yeah. By the way, one other thing here too. I'm going to confront Nick finally, folks. I'm going to confront Nick.
What I do.
Yeah. You and Nico House had a little talk about some Star Wars, about the Republic and the Empire. And I got to say this right now. I'm calling out Nico House. How dare you insult the Empire? Palpatine was correct. Alderaan was a neoliberal college art campus planet, and it had it coming.
Now kicking in a promo against Nico now.
Yeah,
I want to see the debate now.
Exactly. Now, look, the Empire was there to save that planet from an asteroid that was going to hit it. But rebel saboteurs did something to the Life Star. I don't know why they call it the Death Star. It's called the Life Star because it was a job. Because it was a jobs program, Nico. It was a jobs program where people were working, and the planet accidentally blew up. And the thing is, we're talking about the Jedi and the Republic. Anakin Skywalker was a whistleblower leading the heroic 501st to that temple to save those kids. By the time they got there, the Jedi were killing all those kids. And unfortunately, Anakin Skywalker lost his life, but his good friend Darth Vader was there to make things work purposely. So as far as I'm concerned, Nico House's assessment on Palpatine and the Republic are incorrect. It's fake news.
Now, I don't know, like Nico House, like if that was me, I wouldn't take it. That just it was me personally. If I had someone call me out for my Star Wars knowledge, I wouldn't take it. So Nico, you heard the promo here, kid. I wouldn't take it if I was you. So we might have said something up where you guys had to squash this once and for all.
Yeah, listen. Palpatine did the did the whole world a favor, the universe a favor, by reorganizing the Republic into the peaceful empire. That terrorist Skywalker who took the name of Anakin Skywalker needs to be held accountable. That was I had cousins working for that jobs program for the Life Star. I don't know why they call it the Death Star. And by the way, let's talk about the Outer Rim. They're filled with criminals. They're not their best and brightest.
Batman is a cop, guys. I'm sorry to tell you, he's a cop. They try to save face from Batman. They're like, man, you got all these charities. That motherfucker's a cop, bro. You can do all these things. You get in a costume, you beat the shit out of mentally ill people. How do you think Two-Face recruited his people, man? He took advantage of people in poverty. The people in this game, man, they just trying to make it. They're just trying to survive. Batman comes in his Batmobile, beating the shit out of him with a boomerang, giving this guy a concussion. Now he got memory damage, long-term damage. What are you thinking, Batman? Like, are you thinking long-term? Yeah, you got the Joker. Yeah, you got Two-Face. But what about the 20 henchmen that you permanently disabled who only took that job because they had no other way out? You cop. Spider-Man's a cop too. You guys not ready for this conversation. They literally in the video games. He literally wanted to be Spider Cop. He literally, God damn it. Anyway, you guys not ready for this.
Well, you know, there was a series, I think it was called White Knight, where the Batman in this was an interesting arc where Batman was he literally beat the crap out of the Joker and forced all these pills down the Joker's throat. And the Joker actually became sane for a while and actually did everything he could to discredit Batman, and he succeeded. He succeeded where Joker's normal crazy self failed. That was a great story arc right there. That was
Batman
really
pissed
great.
me off because he'd be like, I refuse to kill people. Meanwhile, he kicks someone off a 20-foot building. I'm like, that guy is dead, Batman.
No, he's paralyzed. He's a vegetable.
You're killing the shit out of people. You watch this movies? Like, I'm a martial artist. Like, I know what the human body can withstand. And I'll be watching Spider-Man and Batman. They be like, I'm not killing no one. That guy got concussion. He's fucked. Long-term memory damage. Spinal damage. Yeah, he's not walking no more. Yeah, that guy definitely dead. Like, Spider-Man would web someone, throw him to a car, high speed, they'll land head first. Like, that guy's dead. Like,
that's right. J. Jonah Jameson's right in his assessment of Spider-Man is a goddamn menace. Whenever I hear J. Jonah Jameson's rants, I like, you tell him, J. Jonah. You tell him, J. Jonah.
Hey, Jonah Jameson. I read a lot of Spider-Man comics. Jonah Jameson, he wanted to end child poverty. You guys know that? Not a bad guy. He kind of an asshole, but not a bad guy.
Oh, yeah, because he became mayor of New York City, didn't he?
Yeah, he was like, man, all this fucking. That's something that he talked about. Not a bad guy. Meanwhile, Spider-Man, Batman, their solution is punch first, ask questions later.
Yeah, Spider-Man's out there web slinging all over the place. Do you have any idea how much it cleans up? I read Jay Jonason's opinion piece about the city cost of cleaning up Spider-Man's webs.
You over here web sling? Can you web sling some social programs?
Yeah, Spider-Man. You freaking menace.
Oh man, can you crack me up, man? Let's get to the last story. I feel like that's a good warm up for our last story.
Yes, but seriously,
this is really quick because I'll pull this up because I want your thoughts on this. You have AMLO, who is the center of this conversation, but what he says is most interesting because he's been a thorn. This dude is really pissed off at Biden and the Democratic Party. He called him out on NATO, called him out on Cuba, called him out on Haiti. Been literally giving them L's left and right. And I am sharing this story not only to share what AMLO has said, but also am interested in your position on this. I got my camera off, AJ.
Okay.
So Mexico, and look, this is AMLO. The Mexico's president calls charges against Trump political. And this is his quote, and I'll get your thoughts on this. I think you want to chime in. I don't agree with what they are doing to former President Trump, AMLO said at his morning news briefing. I do not know if crimes were committed, It's not my place. So supposedly, legal judicial issues should not be used for political electoral purposes. Don't make up crimes to affect adversaries. So you guys see how no one, unless you're a blue check shitlib, believe this is not political? Because everyone else is like, dude, this is obviously political. Meanwhile, Morning Joe, in their stance, they almost chant themselves this to make themselves feel better. This is the rule of law. No one's above the rule of law. No one's above the rule of law. We'll go after anyone except George W. Bush.
Well, the thing is,
Go ahead.
when we look at this, what they're doing to Trump is pretty political because
The
thing is, he's an easy distraction, and they've turned Trump into this cartoon villain. And I'm probably going to get no one take this out of context, but the way they're turning into Trump to a cartoon villain is the same way a lot of the corporate media has turned Hitler into a cartoon villain as well, because it's easy to compare the next bad guy, the quote unquote evil leader, to somebody like Hitler. When we have to look at the fact these two individuals got into power for very separate reasons. And I think a lot of people are ignoring the fact of the economic situations that led them both get into positions of power. And Trump, we have to remember, was once a Democrat. And we have to also look at the fact that he knows these people, the politicians, their darkest secrets. He has given these people money and they do what he says. He knows how the system works. He has said the system is rigged because he's used it. That's from the Dave Chappelle stand-up that he did on Saturday Night Live, because he's used it, and he's used it for both parties. When confronted in a 2016 primary in regards to about money in politics, first Republican primary debate, he said, I give these people money and they do what I say. Yeah. He has been the most transparent president ever in American history. And I say this because look, when he was asked about why we're in Syria or in the Middle East, he didn't give the Obama, Reagan, Bush Jr., Clinton answer or Biden answer. And that is, we're there for infrastructures, freedom, helping these people. He said, no, we're here for the oil. We're here for the oil. He said it. He said it like there. That's why we're there. We're there for the goddamn oil. He's the most transparent president we've had. Yeah, the guy's a liar. Yeah, he's a misogynist and racist and bigot, but at least he's up front with it. At least look, he's going to give me the middle finger, but I'll be like, okay, at least you're honest. And I don't care if he boned a porn star. Big deal. These politicians are doing things 3 times as worse as him.
The most absurd thing, and they are repeating this in all the Oppo research I'm doing on like Morning Joe and all these people talking about this, they're saying that we have to do this because no one's above the rule of law. We have to prove the precedent that no president is above the rule of law. And this lie is why I 100% say, I don't care if people on the left, I don't care if the progressives with trying to Regiment Syndrome get upset with me. I am here to speak truth. I don't care if you get upset. The truth on this case is this is 100% political. You understand? If this wasn't political, they would have went after George W. Bush after Barack Obama. They did not. Why did they not go after George W. Bush? Because he was no longer an electoral threat. George W. Bush like, nigga, I'm about to retire in pain. Say like, be bygones. Then you got Trump, who's the first president who lost their re-election in my lifetime. And then he became he's a political threat. So they decided to charge him without any evidence or any examples of them charging a Democrat. Well, at least if you have evidence of you charging a Democrat, then you can say, "Oh yeah, not political. We charge Neera Tanden for war crimes. We charge Nancy Pelosi for war crimes. We charge Joe Biden for war." No, there's no examples of you charging your team, but there's multiple examples of you going after your political enemy over things like campaign finance law that Hillary Clinton broke. So that's 100% political. But go ahead, Kay. I know you want to chime in.
Well, the thing is, like, I'll give credit's due, and hold on, folks, bear with me. Don't throw tomatoes at me. But at least what I found hilarious is that CNN and even BSDNC was saying, these charges against Trump, they're not as bad or as damaging. There's a very good chance, vote blue, no matter who, that Trump is going to walk away from this. And
I think that too. They already priming their audience for disappointment.
Like prepare yourself, but don't worry. We're going to do resistance stories against Trump. We're going to stand.
I'm not tired of it. How many times do they have to? How many times do you have to get shit wrong? First of all, be the Mueller report.
Money. The The answer is money. Listen. For 2 years, Rachel Maddow was running on that Russiagate because Nick, I got to be honest with you, new houses, yachts, cars, and trips to fancy restaurants don't buy themselves. And that's what Rachel Maddow wants again. They want Trump to get out of this. He's going to walk away. And the thing is, everyone at MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN are going to breathe a sigh of relief. The Democrats will be like, oh, yes, now we could fundraise off of Trump more. They're going to do it. They want him to win because he's their cash cow. Trump. Without Trump, all these people are irrelevant.
Yep. As I said before, that's shown by CNN's rating decline since Trump has not been president anymore. Now, there's a reason why you got AMLO and many world leaders that's calling out the Trump charges because, as I said before, this is 100% political. Now, Donald Trump, they're going after Donald Trump for a campaign finance law. You guys understand, and this is the Republicans' argument against Biden, they said, well, he's weaponizing the government and weaponizing the legal system against his political enemy. That's the same arguments that Democrats used to make of Donald Trump. Not only the same arguments they said that Donald Trump would do, but that's the same thing they accused Nicolas Maduro of doing. So check this comparison out, guys. You had Nicolas Maduro. The opposition party was caught colluding with the FBI to kill Nicolas Maduro. You guys understand? Opposition party try to kill Nicolas Maduro. So Nicolas Maduro did the obvious. When you try to kill the president, he throws him in prison. So then the same Democrats are like, we got to throw sanctions on Venezuela because Nicolas Maduro is going after his political opponents for trying to kill him. Those same people are now going after Donald Trump over a campaign finance law and saying it's not a political persecution, even though they accuse Donald Trump and Nicolas Maduro of doing the same thing. That's why, as someone who I stand on the side of truth, because truth will always set us free. You cannot stand by this hypocrisy, whether you like Trump or not.
Exactly. And the thing is, when we see this hypocrisy being played out, so many Americans don't understand our political system and really the double standards that we're seeing here. And look, I don't want to be, again, taken out of context, but I kind of want to see Trump walk away from this because people need to see just how corrupt everything is and the fact that there is really no justice. The law of the land is that the poor, you get screwed over. It's expensive to be rich. It's expensive to be poor in America, in this country. If you were to even do a fraction of what these politicians are doing, you're not going to see the light of day ever again. So to everyone watching this, even if you don't like what we say here, really take a step back and look at your politicians. Look beyond just it being Trump. The problem's bigger than Trump. This has been going on for decades upon decades. You have Americans working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. We have polluted air, water, and soil. We have our infrastructure falling apart. So many Americans are in debt. Hell, we have a thing called medical bankruptcy. That's bigger than Trump. And I hope people wake up to that fact, because if you don't, one day you will wake up and it won't be the walls closing in on Trump. It'll be the walls closing in on you, and the gate will be locked and the key will be thrown out if we don't start doing something now. I see the people in France, and I remember back when I was a kid, people say, oh, the French are cowards. Oh, we, they got occupied by Germany. Hey, they're fighting. They're fighting against their corrupt government. What are we all doing? Are we as tough as we say we are? I see other countries, I see there are other people, and they're fighting back. Do we got the balls to do that too? Because what our politicians are doing to us is goddamn criminal.
Yeah. Well said, kid. This has been a fun 90 minutes, as always.
Yeah.
Pass to you. What you got coming up on Harlan's Media? Any last things you guys want to shout out real quick?
Well, I got on Monday's show, again, Harlan's Media, we're live 9 a.m. Central in the morning on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockman, Rumble, and Twitch. That's 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I got a great interview. I got 2 great guest interviews coming up, as well as an activist who's doing, with actually 3 technically, or 4 really, do Dissidence next week. I got an activist who has been covering East Palestine, Ohio, did a short documentary video. I'm going to be checking them out. Yep. And so I'll be interviewing them. I got some other guests as well. I'll be having a discussion about Chicago politics. Again, 9 a.m. Central is when Hard Lens Media goes live. We're on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockfin, Rumble, and Twitch. You follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Please consider being a patron supporter. If you can't, hey, enjoy the show and share our content. Please be sure to support Revolutionary Blackout Network too, because the YouTube censorship is all too real. And by hitting that like button for all independent media, you're helping us keep us all alive and to do this work, because this is an arduous task and we're glad to have your support. And one last note here too, and this is directly towards Nico House in regards to, well, the Empire. You know something, Nico? You're talking about the Empire being a bad guy. Emperor Palpatine was there at the Battle of Endor.
There's another promo.
And he heroically was organizing his forces to stop these terrorists and to remove the civilian contract workers that were there on the second Life Star. But what did those terrorists do? They blew up all those civilian contractors, Nico. Where's your commentary on that? And Palpatine gave his life.
The people want to see it. The people want to see the Nico Kid showdown on this. As someone who's neutral on this, I hear both your arguments. I'm like, man, I gotta see the showdown. But anyway, much love, always fun. We gotta do this again, as always. My man Kid. Make sure you guys subscribe to Harlan's Media. Make sure you guys check and make sure you still subscribe to our channel, RBN.
Yep.
We get a lot of complaints about people who get unsubscribed, so make sure you check that. Dude, Dissidence hot on the market right now. We're gonna have them in on Monday for Nick and CJ. And I have some more guest announcements I will make on Monday. Got a lot, have a fire lineup for you guys, though, as always. So much love to you guys. Much love for Kid. Thank you for joining us as well. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm gonna watch the UFC. Idra sign fight tonight, so that's gonna be fire.